Hey everyone, how's it going? Well, my events are over for the time being, so I guess that means it's now time to go back to what people probably actually want to see, which is doing the maintenance part of this. So, I've decided, for now, out of all my vehicles here that need doing, I'm going to work on this one, my little Minerva. She hasn't had much attention made of her recently. She did come to the show with me for Armed Forces Day back in June. So she did get to come out for that, though, admittedly just on the low loader up there. And she was started, put on the low loader, stopped, and all that. So she didn't do much. Hence why I had to put the battery on charge. So I went to start her today and there wasn't any go in her at all. So I had to crack her on the handle and then bring her in here ready. So I've got the battery on charge over here, as you can see, with my solar panel. It's a nice day. The weather's been really nice, so what better way to charge batteries than using the sun that's just sitting there doing its thing. So I've got my notebook here, which we will have a look in now. If anyone is interested, I have no idea where I got this from. I've had it for years, so we'll have a look. So, not the Spartan, not the Goddess, not the 101, the Minerva. Don't worry if you can't read my writing. I can. So I write in cursive, so I can understand what I'm putting. So, just quickly down the list here of jobs that need doing. The distributor needs doing. The slave cylinder, I noticed, is leaking on the front near side. Starter, she is due an oil change. She hasn't had one for 2 years. Doesn't do much work, but I like to keep on top of my oil changes. She do a new set of plugs in her, which I'll need to get. Brake lights, again, bit hit and miss. That's the switch underneath. It's obviously the design for the time, but it's a pretty poor design. When you push the pedal to open the master cylinder, there's an electric switch underneath that on the bottom side of the chassis, and of course when you push the pedal, all it does is pull the switch open, or pull the switch shut, should I say, and makes the connection. And then the last job I got listed on here is coolant change. So today's mission is going to be the starter, simply because that shouldn't hopefully cost me anything, or if it does, I need to strip her down anyway to do it. Can obviously start her without having the starter on it. I'll just put the starting handle in and crack her over if it does end up that I need to get parts for it. So she's not immobile without the starter. Everything else she is, if there's nothing, well, no brake light she's not, but obviously to take the distributor out, but until I get one, she won't move without that. The slave cylinder, I could take that off, but then I can't use the brakes, because also I just pump fluid out everywhere. Same as drop the oil out and I haven't got enough oil to refill her. She's immobile. Spark plugs, same. Brake lights, again, can use it without them, but I know they're not working very well at the moment, so she won't be going up the road until I've got that done. I've got the distributor fixed as well. As well as the slave cylinder, really. And the coolant change, I'll do that when she's running, because I want to warm her up to obviously open the thermostats up. So we'll crack on with the starter. Right, so starter on one of these. Simple, but at the same time, a royal pain in the ass. And let me just explain why. These starters don't have solenoids on them. They are literally just the starter. They're almost just like a dynamo, really. The starter solenoid is the button inside the vehicle you push. So whereas like your modern vehicles, you turn the key, and when you turn it to start, all you do is trip the starter solenoid over to wake it up. With these, the start button you push is the solenoid, basically. It acts as one. So the main starter itself is just direct wire, and that's it. Just a casing, basically, with the windings inside and the bushes and all that. So to take these starters off, it's a very simple idea. There's a sleeve the starter sits in, which if you look down here on this one with me, so this is the starter here. There's a sleeve on it, which is that orange bit there you can see. That's what the starter sits in, and then that sleeve bolts onto the bell housing where the flywheel is. So that's that. To take the starter out, there's a nut right down the side here. You have to do it from inside the vehicle. You loosen that off, and the starter just pulls away. You don't have to undo anything off the bell housing. The starter is just held in by one bolt. So, a lovely, simple idea to take it off. Yeah. The downside to taking the starter off Eva here is this end here. Because you can't get the starter off past this. Now this is her oil strainer. So, whereas, obviously, vehicles usually have an oil filter, which obviously you undo the canister, take the filter out, put a new one in, job done. The earlier engines didn't have anything like that. And these didn't, these had strainers in them. So that's a sealed canister. Now the reason this is such a pain in the ass to do is undoing the bracket that holds the strainer on. Because the strainer is just held by a U bracket with a groove in it where the folded pressing goes through there, and it's bolted then to the block. Well, trying to fit the strainer in place, hold the strainer in place whilst your hands are trying to put the nuts back on to hold the strainer on is not that easy at all. So I know I'm going to be cursing when I take it off, but I'll have to take it off because you can't get the starter off with it on. Because that does also mean the vehicle does become immobile because you can't start it with the starter off. So we'll strip the starter off, we'll hopefully get it cleaned up and done and back on before I've got to put the vehicle away. Otherwise I'll have to put the strainer back on, repipe it up so I can start the vehicle and move it. That's just come on, there we go, that's just how it is. So yeah, the starter itself is simple, it's just a pain getting it out because of what you got to unbolt. So yeah, other than that, it's just another job working on a Land Rover. But yeah, let's quickly show you where the bolt is, how you undo the bolt to take the starter off. It's literally there, just behind the accelerator. So you just push the accelerator down, put a socket on it, undo it, and pull the starter straight off. Obviously take the wire off the starter as well, but that's only a 2-second job because obviously they're screwed on with brass. It's just one wire. Yeah. That's all there is to it. We'll get the starter off. We'll strip it down, pull the centre of it out, take the casing off the outside, just see how dirty it is in there. We'll give it a good go with contact cleaner and give it a rub down, make sure everything's in the right place and set, and then put it all back together, put it back on, and hopefully it'll work. But we'll see when we get there. Right, see if you stay there this time. Yeah, as I say, you tend to find when you're doing these, if you're working in Imperial, they tend to be one of 3 sizes a lot of the time. You either have, been dropping the spanner, you either have it as 1/2 inch, 9/16, or 5/8. I tend to find a lot of my vehicles are one of those 3 sizes for working on the engine if you're in Imperial. And this one here is pretty well 5/8. So as you can see, there isn't a huge amount of room to work down here, which is a classic Land Rover thing. Anyone who works on a Land Rover will know this feeling very well. That you can't really move a huge amount. So loosened off, so undo, and at the top. Back there out the way. Try and do the same with that other one.
And just keep fighting for this. I just can't get my hands in half the time. I'm just going to see if I've got a... I did have even smaller sizes, so I'm just going to see if I've got smaller ones.
Unfortunately, the Imperial set doesn't come in the smaller, so I got these nice little diddy spanners as well. So we'll have to go metric with this and just see if we can...
Yeah, I can't turn it, so it's facing the other way.
There we go. Managed to just crack it. You tend to find with a lot of these things, you pinch stuff up just enough to stop it leaking. You don't go really tight with anything because you can't. There's a good chance you won't get it undone. So, yeah. So, pipe does actually turn and go about the way a little bit. That one does just move like that a touch. So there we go. Strainer is now undone. I'll get my little middle ones now. I'll go underneath and undo the nuts that are holding the strainer clamp on. One side I take it off quick, the other side I just wind off enough to get out, and I'll drop the strainer out the way, and then we'll crack on and get the starter off then. And so the biggest fight's going to be trying to put it all back together again, but hey ho.
It's going to be easier on the right, but unfortunately, I don't have that luxury.
Right, apologies about that. I don't know how far the recording got before my GoPro shut down. Though it's not overly sunny, it's still very warm in here, and my GoPro overheated and turned itself off. I suppose I had just been charging it up before I did this, so I don't know how far I got before it went off. I've got a feeling you probably missed my epic battle with the starter to get it out. But just to give you a catch up now as to how far we've got. There's the starter. It is out. So that's now ready for down. I'll get some brake cleaner on that, just clean it up, ready. I got the strainer off in the end. The best way to do it is take the threads out, or put a seal under there to pick up. I also had to get the starter out, had to lift it out through the top, took the rocker cover off the side. So, as you can see down here, these are the exhaust. This is the cam for the rockers for the exhaust, the outlets. These are. So, a Series 1 engine, basically the inlets are on the top, the outlets, I'll say on the side, it kind of goes from underneath. So when you get the valves, the hardened valves put in, which are usually the exhaust valves, you have to send the whole block in to be done. So it is a complete engine strip out job when you do the valves on one of these. Hence why I'm a bit reluctant to get the valves. We've got some shit on there. To get the valves done. Just the moment, I'll leave it on, putting lead replacement in the fuel. One, I'm not using the vehicle enough to warrant having the valves changed, but two, because I'd have to take the whole engine out and send it away to be done. Now, I can't do, it's no good being around, but I can't do the, I can't do the valves myself, so, sorry, my GoPro seems to be having moments. At the moment, you just stopped recording again for some reason. I've got over 2 hours of memory left on it, so I have no idea. The heat tends to do funny things to these GoPros, I've found. Especially as mine seem to have this habit of overheating, so I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, so yeah, so the starter is now out. I will. Dear me, excuse me. I will, yeah, we'll clean the starter down. I'll put it on my bench and probably just undo the other buttons, just pull it apart and see how it looks before calling it a day. Time's getting on a little bit, and to be honest, you can tell I'm pretty tired. Anyway, so been doing other jobs. Oh, excuse me, other jobs between doing this. So I'll go and get my bench out and bring it up here, and then we'll get the starter put in the vise, give it a quick wipe down, and take it from there. Okay, so there we go. We got that in place. I can't remember if you actually saw this or not before the camera died, or if that was when I noticed the camera died. That was one of the screws I took out the back, because I had an earth screwed to it. As you can tell by the look of it there, it's definitely got a little bit rusty inside. So I'm guessing that's the problem with it. It's my own fault. I took her off-roading. There's nothing wrong with taking her off-roading, but I got it a bit wrong. Well, I listened to the marshals, which is one thing you learn to never do when you're off-roading. At an event, never listen to the marshals because they haven't got a clue what they're on about. And yeah, basically, listened to what they said, dropped it in a hole, and the water came up over the bonnet. So yeah. Unfortunately, lesson learned, they don't because they don't honestly care what happens to your vehicle. They're more interested in seeing vehicles stuck and needing towing out. So unfortunately, that's how we make. So now I don't off-road her, as in take her to off-road shows anymore. She did billing and that, but yeah, unfortunately, the way the marshals act there, I kind of don't. I don't take her to do that stuff anymore, unfortunately. But hey ho, that's just how it is. So just giving that a quick wipe down. I'm going to do this, just have a look inside, see how it looks. I do enjoy just easing stuff apart to have a look, because it tells you a lot about what's happening in there before you actually get in there. So here we go, we got the brushes and all that in here. As you can see, this is kind of your brush end of it, so those are changeable. As you can see, there is a bit of rubbish and that built up in there, bits and pieces. So I would say, looking at that, I'd say that looks quite dirty. So that's possibly part of the reason why it's playing up. Obviously, when it's dirty in there, you don't get as good a connection, and if you don't have a good connection, you just waste a lot of power. So let's take this other one off as well. Yeah, on the back of these, you got a suppressor to stop power surges and things like that. Especially being, you tend to find a lot of military vehicles. You can see more rust than that on them. You tend to find a lot of military vehicles have suppressors and things like that attached to them because of the radio equipment they tend to have on. It can upset everything. So you'll find suppressors on starters or on coils or on anything like that. To be honest truth, again, I'm not very good when it comes to electronics, so I kind of learn as I go along. And this is no different. That can come off. That's just the guide to hold the gear in place. So basically, just in case you weren't aware, obviously when your starter spins up, as it spins, it throws that gear forward and that hits the end there, so it can't go any further, and then your starter drags it round, which of course spins your flywheel and fires the engine up. And then when you loose off the key, the engine starts up, because the running engine is a lot faster than the starter spins it. It spits the key, it spits that out, which it then returns back to its resting point there. So when a starter jams in, as in you start the vehicle and it won't let go, that's because that's not returning back. So sometimes it doesn't hurt just to have a little bit of oil or something on there just to help it slide. It jams out, of course, spins the starter faster than it's designed to go. It starts turning into a generator instead of a motor. But I said, then when it spits it out and puts it back, so thing to remember is everything's a magnet on this, so Let's all let's undo that as well. Size is anything. Of course you'd run off. You've also got to remember, you will find that you'll have a lot of insulating discs in places, because obviously you don't want current running through everything. So just kindly let go. Right. Remember that everything is spring loaded on this, but you look at it, everything's gone rusty, so yep. So in that case then, I will, yeah, they've all gone rusty, so I'm going to get my screwdriver, my little one. I'm just going to ease the springs back, because the springs are there to hold your brushes in place, because they need to be touching. Everything's about making a current and making a connection. So just trying to do stuff without breaking anything, obviously. Good. Yeah, so bring you in a little closer to see here. As you can see, just a bit rusty. And it might not be much, but without there being dirty as well, it might not be much, but with the strain this goes under when it's starting, it makes a hell of a difference. So we'll just get it cleaned up and hope that's that. And then I might also just pull that out to check in there as well. Okay, so and there you go. See how dirty that's gone as well. Yeah, again, my own fault. Got off-roaded, but when someone says something needs rewinding, it's in there is what they're talking about, and in there as well. The copper wire. Sure, that's all right. The copper wires that run round the interior in there, because obviously it's all about generating magnetic fields and whatever to spin everything up. So some people might listen to me and say you're talking absolute bollocks, and you're probably right. But I have my own understanding of how it works, and in my head, I know how it works. I just know how it works in my head. I just don't know how to explain it in a satisfactory way for others to understand, because I'm not an electrical engineer or anything like that. This is a hobby. Oh, really? Now what's going on? That hasn't gone flat, has it? No, not you charging it yet. Oh, of course, and you're starting with them upside down. Why not? Get back that way. There. We'll try again, but yeah, this is just this is all just hobby come turned into a bit of a side project job kind of thing for me. So, just how it is. If people aren't happy with how I try to explain things, then so be it. It's just how it is. Right. I know I'm going to have a hell of a game trying to put all this back in again afterwards, but oh, the springs, oh fuck, the springs bust. Okay. See what happens with that. But anyways, we've got these stripped down now. We can get everything cleaned up, get contact cleaner on everything, and we'll get it all shiny again, which is how it's supposed to be. And we'll put it back together, and hopefully she'll be fine. Otherwise, I'll have stripped it, done all this for nothing. I'll have to send it away anyway. But we'll see what happens. We've stripped them down now. The fact that big gyro's starting to go flat, even though I thought I'd charged it, I think it's probably a good time to say, well, call it a day at that. I'll just give everything I'll go over it quickly with contact cleaner now, and we'll come back in tomorrow when everything's fully charged again, and we'll well, look, I mean, everything was working. The starter's just a bit hit and miss. So cleaning it up can't make it any worse. It's only if I don't put it back together correctly is what makes it worse. So, yeah, it's a bit... I think about the spring gone on that. That's a bit of a bugger. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll be all right. The spring's still there, so it can't come out. It's just meant to hold it closer. So we'll get all this cleaned up for now anyway and take it from there. Right.